Hello and welcome to How to Win the Lottery Season 7 Graphic Content, Episode 4, The Seeds by Ann Nocenti, author, and David Aha, illustrator. I'm Joey Lewandowski.
My name is Shreds.
Shreds, welcome to another episode of this fine program.
Thanks for having me.
What have you been up to lately?
I just finished watching Command Z.
Soderbergh thing.
Yeah.
Did you finish Full Circle also?
I did, yeah.
Did you like one of them more than the
I
other?
like Command Z better, but Command Z is so like low. It's essentially like Mystery Science Theater, like
Really?
budget, like
Wow.
level. Yeah, but there's something so charming about it. Yeah, it's cool. It's fun.
There is something funny about Soderbergh. Not funny, maybe funny, funny, whatever. Where he's just like, I could, if I wanted to, get $100 million movie by a studio.
Yeah.
I could sell my way like the rights to Netflix and international and make any kind of movie. But I could also just shoot one on an iPhone, and I'm going to do that.
He rules.
And I'm just
he's so good.
Why?
It's been a long time since he did like one of those big things. I mean, I guess Logan Lucky kind of was.
But that was a weird thing where he financed that himself. Like he was selling things in advance.
I also think it was written by his wife secretly.
Maybe.
Right, because there's
he's got like the pseudonyms where he he's the editor, he's his own editor and his own cinematographer and whatever. And
right, but I think his wife wrote it, and so it's like all that's in house. Jules Asner.
He just did Magic Mike 3 this year. Mm-hmm. That's a big thing.
Right, but it's not like that's not like Ocean's 11 big.
Right, but a few things are. But
yeah, I guess when I think of big, I don't think of
you mean like multiple, like a swashbuckling kind of like not just Channing Tatum.
It's got planes in it. It's got like international locations.
Did you see Magic Mike 3?
No.
It's got planes and international.
You were let down by it, right?
No, I liked it.
Okay,
but XXL is like, which he didn't direct, but he.
That's your favorite one?
It's a perfect movie. It's unbelievably good.
Yeah.
This one's good. Anyway. The Seeds by Ann Nocenti.
Yeah.
It's weird a little bit that it is very similar in a lot of ways, not every way, but very similar to a book that we covered 2 episodes ago, The Private Eye, it is post-apocalyptic. There's a separation between people who want what we would consider modern convenience and people who no longer want that or no longer have access to that. But it also has aliens, and I'm just like, pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to find a way in to talk about this. It reminded me of a weird thing that feels very 90s to me, where there were like bands called like Alien Sex Fiend, and there was like I don't know if you remember Species, the film series Species.
Sure.
And there was like a lot and some X-Files stuff. And alien abductions all like have this like Cronenbergian body horror / sexuality to them.
Yeah.
But like there was like a lot of interest in fucking aliens in the 90s.
And
I think
that's not what this is about, but it's also kind of what this is about.
Under the Skin is kind of like that. I mean, that's not 90s, but that like fits into that. And this like really reminded me of like a 1990s aesthetic view of aliens and the body, which is probably all informed by H.R. Giger, right? It's like all like, Giger is like the
guy who did Alien.
Yeah, but he's also like his art, his alien style art predates Alien by quite a bit. And like, it's all about like, phalluses and fluids and things entering things and this is called Seeds, and it's at least partially about an interspecies relationship between a human and an alien.
In spite of the fact that like it is at least partly about fucking an alien, it's not super horny.
No, it's not. It's not. I would say, it's not horny at all.
Like
it's not like there are alien sex scenes.
We enter, God, no pun intended.
Yeah.
Like post-coital, right? Like like it's just like they're like both getting dressed or whatever, and it's just like but now she's pregnant with an alien human
classic
hybrid.
Yeah, as you do.
So this is about, I think, and I don't know that we ever fully get the definition. Actually, before we get there, I'm going to ask the question I ask every episode. Was this one of your picks or one of Heather's picks? Do you remember?
This was me too, but it's also like between my picks and Heather's picks, it's not like you know, the things that I picked were still informed by the direction that Heather pointed.
Yeah.
So like,
I'm not sure. I'm not trying to like
create a delineation between me and Heather. But I will say, like, I picked this largely because David Aja is, and we talked about this on the episode with Heather, is one of, if not my current favorite comics artist.
Really?
Yeah.
What else has he done that I would know?
The thing that you would most know that is very popular is he did Matt Fraction's run on Hawkeye, which
became a TV show.
The TV show
Gotcha.
is based on, and which like the aesthetics of the introduction to the TV show is based on his art.
So is this something you had read before, or you were like, oh, this is a thing that I have not read of his that I want to check out?
I have not read before.
The reason I'm asking before is that you were Heather is because, like, instead of just being like, oh, well, where the instructions come from? You're like, oh, I read it or whatever. Just like, I want to know, like, where, if this is something, because, like, I don't remember. Anyway, I don't really fully get the explanation of, like, what's going on, but seemingly Ranch, there is an alien species that goes from planet to planet, maybe to dying planets.
Yeah.
To kind of catalog and collect seeds to preserve that planet's biosphere, sort of, before the planet collapses.
Yeah, they make a very specific exception to humans because they don't deal with higher life forms. They deal with...
Because they talk about most times they go to a planet, there's like single cell organisms and whatever. Yeah. But here, it's an evolved life form. But it's also like...
And the evolved life form has fucked themselves with climate change and things like that.
And so to us, it's like the science fiction element, or the unusual thing is the aliens, but the aliens is like we're the weird thing, right? Like it's...
Yeah, it's also doing like a... it's like an eco book.
Sure.
It's a book about the coming climate crisis, or the current climate crisis. And it's a book about border insecurity and things like that.
Now, here is a question for you. Not about this, but something that you... Because there's been a rumored around the Lottery Pod water cooler rumor mill. There's been talk of an eco module for a while. Would you have, in the modules that we had done so far... Because we had not done an entire season on graphic novels till now, would you have put a graphic novel in an earlier module?
Well, I think the Private Eye could have gone in the internet module, and I think that this could go in an eco.
Right, but I'm wondering if you would have considered putting a graphic novel, because like we obviously, you know, like Live Blog is stylistically different, literature, sure. Like they're all novels, like they're all text based, but they're all different. Like Amygdala Metropolis is very different. Whatever. The internet had a much more diverse approach to like storytelling, right? But I'm wondering if now going forward, you know, say we had not covered this yet, but we talked about 10 graphic novels. We do an eco module. Would you throw this in there, or do you still see like a sort of separation of church and state between like traditional prose and then graphic novels?
Like could there be 8 traditional novels and 2 graphic? Yeah. Sure.
Because
I don't see a problem with that.
Because I think, what was the module? I don't remember what. There was one that I think we've either done or we were talking about doing, where part of me is like, I wish we could cover some movies too. And I'm like, but that's not the point of the podcast, right? Yeah. But I'm wondering, and like these are books, they're undeniably books, but I'm just wondering if like in your construction of things, where this would fall going forward. You're open to it.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't have a problem. There was a book that I was considering for another module. I actually considered it for this module too, but then I thought, oh, well, maybe we'll just do that for a different one, which is Charles Burns' book Black Hole.
Is that like sci-fi? What is that?
Yeah, it's kind of horny sci-fi body horror.
Sweet.
So like
Cronenberg.
Yeah, it might be in the horny module. It might be in the horror module.
Sweet.
We'll see.
So these aliens come down, and also very similar to The Private Eye is that this is a world where like newspapers seem to be in charge of things.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is strange.
Yeah.
Not strange, but a coincidence.
As someone who's notoriously horny for newspapers, what is the like? How did you feel about this newspaper's relationship with the truth?
I think it was fascinating.
Yeah.
So there's basically 3 main characters, right? There's the alien. There's the alien baby mama, and there's this journalist, right? Like that's essentially the 3 main.
Yeah.
And so the journalist talks about how like when she was growing up, if I get this right, when she's growing up, she was like called a slut, and she's like, well, if they think I am, like I might as well be, like, you know, it's about like shaping the narrative around you.
That's the editor of the
'cause I thought it was her because I thought she talks about like, because as the book goes on, she talks about having to like writing headlines that are so good that you have to like figure out like what the story is and like shaping narrative, shaping story, shaping truth and fiction or whatever. And then when she takes a picture of the alien, maybe that is the editor, maybe it's the fourth character.
No, it's the editor, because remember she's like, I once like wrote a headline about a vampire cult that I had to then start.
Which is funny.
Yeah, it's really funny.
But like, she sees the alien. She's like, oh, well, like this is going to like screw up their plans. Like I have to like throw people off the scent a little bit. So like, oh, I just happen to be at this party where people are in the same kind of alien mask that are modeled after the real aliens. But the guy takes it off to drink beer and I can take a picture and like, look, they're all fake or whatever. And I think there's something very fascinating about like storytelling. And it's a little, it's like scummy and shady, but it's also like, you know, she's doing it at the end here for good, for the greater good. Right? So I liked it. I think it's interesting.
I like that ethical decision where it's like you either are a human being or you are your job, and you end up in this you know, Les Mis kind of place where Javert has to decide between being a cop and being a human, and he chooses to be a human being and kills himself.
Oof.
So, which is
Spoilers
what all cops should do. Choose to be human. I mean, not the latter.
So I was looking up because there's not a wiki for this book, but there's a wiki for nocenti. And
she has a storied career in a lot of different areas.
And when I found out about this book, do you know anything about the making of this book or no?
Nope.
Self-published.
Great.
They did 2 issues, and then issue 3 got delayed seemingly indefinitely. And I think some sites reported like it was like canceled. I think it's like 2018-ish, and there's like, I guess we're never getting more. And then eventually, like way later or however long later, they put out the full 4
this happens
issue
in comics
volume
sometimes.
I think just all independent productions, right? It's just like, but I think that's like, I'm glad, because I like this book. I'm glad that we read it all collected. I think your intent to do complete stories for this module, as opposed to like, we're going to read issues 77 through 88 of Daredevil or whatever.
It would never work.
The fact that there's like a beginning, a middle, and an end, because like if I was reading this, like if I was the type to go to a local comic shop and like find a cool cover and be like, oh, this book is awesome, I can't wait for more. And then issue 2 comes out, you're like, great. And then issue 3 just like basically never comes out. You'd be like so bummed.
Yeah, this was a major problem with Image Comics, and it might still be, but it definitely was in the beginning, where it was like, because these people no longer had bosses, so they were all like in charge of their own production schedules and stuff like that. So you would get like 5 issues, and then there'd be months before the next issue.
That's so frustrating.
Yeah, I mean it's the
nature of the beast.
Yeah, it's the price to pay. You get maybe a higher quality product, but you don't have the clockwork corporate hand on the small of your back pushing you through a doorway. So
you picked this because David Aja is one of your favorite.
Yeah.
What did you think of the art, the drawing in this?
I loved it. It's like, it's not, it's different from his other art that I've seen and loved.
Does he color his own stuff? Like, I don't understand how any of this works. Like, is he also the colorist?
I don't know. Or no? I don't think so. I mean, is there like, this is
it's like, basically black and like kind of like a light green.
It's monochromatic, right? I don't know. I mean, he's like his art has a very like graphic design feel to it, almost like there's, especially like his cover work, there's a very like, a lot of these covers have like the beehive symmetry.
There is a very cool, the only screenshot I took of this is very near the end. There is a full, because like I was also thinking about, while reading all the books so far this season, thinking about the understanding comics and like the way the panel layout and like what you can do and whatever. And like this seems, not as a negative, but seems very like, this is the way we do it. It's like basically like either 3x3 or 3x1. And there's like a big, like when a new chapter comes, right? And it's just like, there's 2 page layouts. And then very near the end, there's this guy where it's like all 9 to like the big story. I'm like, this is so cool.
Yeah.
And it almost feels like they waited to like drop this on you until you're like, oh, like this is, but it's just like, it's the bees.
Yeah. The 9 panel grid is like very classic,
right?
So that's like working within the confines of a sort of traditionalist model, and he's not like a particularly traditionalist artist. I mean, he doesn't look like I think in the Private Eye, the art is significantly more like what you expect when you pick up a comic book. If you're like,
this one feels
casual.
more like a zine kind of.
Yeah, for sure. And that sort of goes with although I mean Private Eye was also independently published. But it fits in with this like sort of underground journalism telling a sort of conspiratorial story kind of art.
What did you think overall of the seeds?
I really liked it a lot.
Good. Cool.
I am, I think, predisposed to this kind of science fiction because it is telling the story
like
that
eco-climate, like that kind of, or like what specific type of science fiction?
Well, I was thinking more about the alien stuff, but specifically like, we have lived. I mean, you and I specifically have grown up in a world of X-Files, but like not only X-Files, but in a alien autopsy,
sure,
and like ideas about like Fire in the Sky, which is based on a like quote unquote true story, or any of these number of alien abduction stories that like sometimes are coded in a similar way as like the kind of like the preschool molestation scandal stuff where it's like people are using hypnotism and trauma devices to try to figure out what happened to them and like repressed memories and things like that. So you don't really, it's unclear what's true and what's not true. And so like, I think examining this idea of aliens through an untrustworthy print newspaper is really interesting to me because it's like I did grow up with like looking at alien
like National
autopsy.
Enquirer or whatever,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, but I mean, even not National Enquirer, but like I guess I'm thinking specifically about like the videotape for alien autopsy, where it's like this is real,
like the things that X-Files is making fun of about like on Fox and stuff like that.
Even though like you know that it's not real at the time, it's like you're looking at it and you're just like, well, like could it be real?
That can't possibly be fake.
Yeah, like how would they, are they allowed to do that? They're not allowed to just say that it's an alien. So like I'm interested in the story of a world vulnerable to those kinds of lies, and then to have it be true, because that's what I always wanted when I was a kid, right? Like I wanted the alien autopsy to be a true thing. So, I liked it. I liked it from that point of view. And then also from like an ecological point of view, it painted a world that I'm not looking forward to getting to, but
feels inevitable.
Yeah, is right around the corner.
Where in the Private Eye, there was like kind of a metaphorical is the wrong ideological divide between people who were content with the anonymity of the new world and the people who would prefer things were a different way. In this one, there's a literal wall where outside the wall, there's like no electricity. There's no, it's just like, you want to live like that, go for it. But like, we got like what's left of civilization in here. Out there is viable, but like you're on your own, kid, right? Like it's.
Well, it also, which is like, sort of falls in line with things that we said during the Private Eye episode, which is like, there is this delineation between society and non-society, and that is constructed through information and access to the internet, right? Like once you get outside of that wall, it's like it is the Wild West because the world has fallen apart once you remove that from people.
And whereas with the Private Eye, it feels like it was like we don't see it happen, but it feels like there's a methodical like we're going to figure out a way to like preserve society as we know it without the internet. This is just like things broke bad. We can't fix this.
It felt a lot aesthetically. It felt similar to like Children of Men or something like that to me, where it's like, it's a very like, there's a lot of like chain link and like people are still going to bars and stuff, but everything's a little dirtier than it used to be. And like part of that has to do with the David Aja's art, right? There is no like color. None of it's bright. Right, it feels
dirty.
Yeah, it feels like you're in this grimy kind of world where like
it feels like the Fallout video games, like where it just like it feels like something happened, even though something might not have happened. It just might have been like something happened, but like not like an event, like not like a nuke went off and like this is all rubble. Just like we ruined things, and like this is like what is left.
Yeah, and the like the power of the Fourth Estate once again. but this time their power is derived from
controlling the narrative.
Yeah, being able to tell you the story that they want you to hear based on your like monetary interest in hearing that story.
Because there is, you're saying as someone, horny for journalism, there like the villains in this sort of are like the two like newspaper editors who are just like fat cats in their office kind of like shaping the narrative. You're like, but this isn't, I don't want to root against them, but like they seem bad.
Yeah. And then the other bad guy is like the guy that wants to put a drill in her head, the alien that wants to put a drill in her head.
That's the thing that's funny. You were saying that before, that like we do get the kind of classic like woman strapped to a table, aliens going to
with a tube inside her stomach, I guess. I mean,
belly button,
her womb, right?
Her uterus. But I think what's weird, and maybe they just don't know because they're not used to dealing with higher life forms. They like let her still have her camera, so like when she nearby, so she like blinds them with flashes and like has the photos and stuff. I'm just like, that's not how we've been told like these kind of things go. It's like you're usually like, naked, like stripped of all your possessions or whatever, and like you're there, but she just like seems
and she yanks the tube out of her and like kind of walks away, and she's like, Jesus, this is
seems grimy.
Sure does. Yeah, it's like got that, like sometimes there's this like one of the reasons why I really liked that movie Altered States is because like in like the labs in Altered States, it's like everything's kind of gross and there's like papers on the table and
feels
like
real,
half-eaten sandwiches and stuff and then like it's not like like labs in most sci-fi movies where it's like all gleaming metal and glass and stuff like that. So this felt like, they're like doing an alien abduction thing, but it's like in just like a fucking basement with like broken windows and there's probably dirt all over the floor and fluids from different things and stuff. And I really think that this like book does a really good aesthetic job of like allowing you to live in the filth of the world that they're taking part in.
I think what I also like about like the alien, like we get a sort of a glimpse into like their society or whatever, but like on some level it just feels like the main alien's boss is just like, why'd you have to have sex with her? Like just like why like we have one job here, dude. Like what did you do? Like it's basically just like it's not the end of the world, but like you made everything more difficult. Like why'd you do that? Like it just feels very human in the like
which is
kind of funny.
Yeah, I also like that the aliens sort of they are aesthetically it's just the gray alien, right? It's the big head, big eyes, classic view of the alien, which is like the alien that is still trying to be put off as like the go-to thing, like that obvious bullshit in Mexico recently with the like fake ET looking thing. They're just like, it's 1700. We don't know how old it is.
Well, apparently like that, those people have like done that a lot. Like they've done the same thing in like multiple countries.
I love it. That's like just wild. Doing the same scam everywhere. Yeah.
So the fact that like it like made news again, who knows, right? But yeah.
No, it's real this time.
Not to quote Fox Mulder, but like we want to believe, like we want to believe that there is something else out there for maybe religious reasons, for like spirituality reasons, just for like meaning or whatever.
Yeah, like maybe we want it to fuck us. Like maybe we want like an alien sort of like phallic tail thing to like go all the way down our throats and like impregnate us that way.
Yeah. I also think, we were, the classic in terms of like adapting this. I know I'm jumping ahead, but like this feels also very adaptable because it feels like
for sure
in a world where there are aliens and stuff and like there's bees and mechanical bees and whatever, like it's still like very grounded in reality. Like it's very not as a negative, like basic, simple. This is the world,
Yeah.
Fast forwarded 20, 30, 40, like probably not that many years plus aliens.
Well, that is like an area of the text that I really, really loved, which was the like the bet that goes on where it's like, no mushrooms are going to save us. No, my technology is going to save us. Cause like, I think that's a thing that I don't know. Like, this seems like something that you and I might also be on opposite sides of. Whereas like, to me, it's like making more technology fix a problem that technology caused is not going to be the thing that gets us out of
but
this.
But it also could be, right? Like you never know. I think you need to play both sides.
No,
right?
I have a very like and you know, there's a book that is like part of Lottery Pod lore, the Overstory, which is I think like maybe one of the first books that I really pushed for you to read, right before the podcast. Like
that was, I think it was even before the list of books that basically became the podcast.
Yeah, and that's a book that like everyone that I've gotten to read that book has been like, this book like
Richard Powers, man,
like
he's the real deal.
This book like made me think differently about the world. Like one of the major things that I learned from that book is like one of the best things that you could do is just to like not mow your lawn and like don't like fucking like just let nature grow the way that it is, because like you
is that why you do it?
No, I do it to enrage my neighbors. But like to let ecosystems grow, because nature takes care of itself. And like we've only interfered with nature, and we're the reason why things like the bees die, because like without us, bees would be thriving, right? So to then create things that you know is further going to like alter the ecosystem in favor of humanity.
Well, there's a thing that I saw like on that note that I'd never even thought of, that like someone I follow on Instagram posted a picture of a sign she saw where it was like basically like, when it gets warm in the spring for the first time, like don't mow this area yet, because like all the bugs are like sleeping in things, and like just because it's warm enough that like other things start growing, or you should start like cutting your lawn or whatever, like they're still in there, and like if you mow over them, like you're just like you have to like sort of again inconveniently maybe like let nature do its thing, or just you know never mow your lawn.
Yeah. And also like I think it appeals to this thing that like you know. Like mushrooms, like it says like specifically like it thinks mushrooms are going to be the thing that sort of saves us.
Let's talk about like mushrooms as like a higher power, right? Because like it gets in your bloodstream and like controls your mind or talks to you or whatever.
Yeah, right. Psychedelic. Yeah, and that's sort of like you know there is the stoned ape theory, which is that do you know stoned ape theory?
I don't know.
It sounds like some Joe Rogan shit when I say it right now, but like it's that you know. Prehistoric man ate mushrooms, and the eating of psychedelic mushrooms helped to like
achieve our
push forward evolution past you know whatever it was previously.
You are right. That seems like some Joe Rogan bullshit.
But like I like my thing is that like I think like mushrooms or fungus like specifically do seem almost alien. Like they're like the most interesting looking, and they don't look like anything else really.
I think what's also cool about this is that like in terms of like not just the adaptation, but just in terms of like what we see on display, like we never see like alien craft. We never see them do anything that's like funky. All the human technology is just normal. Like it's very just.
The aliens are usually wearing gas masks. Yeah. They're not really like. They seem very much like people. There's nothing really strange about them except that their heads are shaped a little bit differently.
Yep.
That's really it.
They like to have sex with women.
Sure.
We never really get a sense though of like what their like grand plan is, right? It's just like they're just collecting seeds, and like we don't really know. We don't need to know, but I'm just like I don't think I missed anything.
Yeah, I think it's just to store, you know,
to catalog the universe, maybe
to catalog a dying race.
Yeah, which you know is depressing. But
like, do you know that there's that vault in Antarctica? It's like it's a seed vault that just has all of the like everything that you could ever possibly,
and like every virus too, right? Like
does that have every virus?
I think so. Maybe it's not the same one, but I think that there are places on the planet that have like every like things that we have cures for that we don't have cures for. They're just like they're just somewhere.
That's cool, man. Not scary at all.
Totally scary. What did you think of? So like this is 4 issues, each about you know sort of typical ish comic length of 30 pages each, right? It's like 120, 130 pages in total. Each of those 4 is split into like 6 or 7 chapters.
Yeah.
Did you structurally, did that help? Did that hurt? Was it neutral?
No, I liked it. I thought, I liked the breaking up of things. This was a story that, like, I think, we talked about this a little bit in one of the previous eps, but like, I didn't, like, plot wise, I kind of had a hard time grasping it, but like, it didn't feel so plot heavy to me. No. It felt more like I'm getting the vibes of this world.
It's people too, right? It's just like it's a human story.
Like I understand what's happening here. So I don't know. Breaking it down into the chapters was nice. I love a good quote to introduce a new issue.
Oh yeah.
So we had all those.
Yeah.
Some proverbs, some lyrics, some etc.
I think what I liked most about this is that it was for a thing about a dying race and aliens collecting seeds to like save the planet, it's just like, let's make sure that this alien and woman who are in love with each other like get away safely and have their baby.
Yeah, it's nice.
It's kind of like Children of Men in that way, like you mentioned before, right?
There's something really nice about it.
Yeah.
In a world that still feels pretty depressing and
oh yeah,
eco disastery,
big time, major. Is there other stuff to talk about with this?
I don't know. Is this a short one?
It's a shorter one, but it's also a shorter book, right? Like Coyote Dog Girl, it's 4 or 5. Although Coyote Dog Girl, I think wasn't broken down or whatever, right? It
was just one straight through.
But this is again like, I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't think there's like, because it feels complete. It doesn't feel like we're missing something. Like maybe I would like more, sure, but like I think the story does well. Yeah,
it sure does.
Once again, shout out to the Shreds Man for picking things at the beginning, middle, and an end. We have an email address, lottery@cageclub.me. Oh, by the way, before I get there, do you know a website called Storygraph?
No.
So apparently I was watching Twitch today and a streamer that I was watching was talking shit about Goodreads, and she was like, Storygraph is good. Goodreads sucks. Storygraph is good. Which also Goodreads is now bought by Amazon, so maybe that's why, whatever. But you can also import your Goodreads reading into Storygraph.
Right.
So like when you sign up on Storygraph, like there's like you can log into Goodreads and it walks you through, like you export from there, you import here, then emails when you're done. So I just got the email saying my import is complete, but I haven't looked at it yet. So I don't know, but like supposedly maybe worth exploring.
Okay. Because I hate to give up all my numbers on the Fran Lebowitz reader, which I am, once again, the most popular reviewer of the Fran Lebowitz reader on Goodreads.
You know what I've also done? So there is a website called eReader IQ, which tracks Kindle price drops. And you can set up price drops for books or authors.
Yeah.
And so since we covered Jest, I set up a price alert on David Foster Wallace. And and when things go down like $1, $2, $3, I just buy them. But I have so many different collections of his essays. Like I probably double buying things by now because I'm sure they're like repackaging or whatever. But like they're out there. But what I'm saying is there's websites so you can go. But I was wondering about Storygraph because I feel like if anyone I knew about it, it would be you.
I've been so, I am so dedicated to the Goodreads machine, and not in a good way, just in a way that it's like, that's the thing that's most convenient. Right. That's how I can look for my last like 12 years of reading or whatever.
Well, that's what I'm curious to see if you can export and import, if it like actually, because this, I think, again, not that we need it because you have more than enough to read and I have you, but I think their thing is better book recommendations.
Right.
Because it feels like Goodreads is kind of like, who's paying us to...
they're always like advertising like insane shit to me. Like it'll just be like, oh, you should read this book by Danica Patrick. And I'm just like, why would I read a book by Danica? Okay, I'll buy it. Sure.
I'll look at the cover a lot. Sure.
Oh, I wasn't doing that. That's not what I was
saying.
saying.
Email address, lottery@cageclub.me. Our good friend Egg wrote in, write about this book, any graphic novel, any book at all, lottery@cageclub.me. Meg's reaction to The Seeds. I really like The Seeds, Egg wrote, but I wish I had read through it a second time before writing this email. I feel the art style and content meshed together perfectly. The art felt smudgy and dark and monochromatic and very true to the character's reality. I also liked how scary it was. When Astra had all those pipes attached to her, Astra is the editor. Yeah. I felt sick and audibly gasped.
The writer, not the editor.
Oh. God damn it.
Yeah.
Eventually I can figure it out. I'm never going to figure it out. Part of the reason, Egg writes, that I wish I had read this book again was because I wanted to keep track of the two birds that kept making faces.
Oh, yeah, we should,
like speaking English or speaking bird or whatever.
Yeah, we should talk about that.
They reminded me of Odin's ravens.
Yeah.
Okay. I kind of sped through this story because it was so compelling, but I wish I marinated on everything a little bit more. All in all, I really enjoyed this novel.
I did. The thing is, like, when it's like weekly TV, right? Like, when you have something that's 4 issues and you can read it over 4 months or a year or whatever, it does give you a significant amount of time with that one thing to talk. Like, you buy comics weekly and then you talk about it with people, etc. Like with this, I read this all in one day, and I wonder if that negatively affected my reading of it, or if because when I was a kid and I was buying comics, I would read, you know, in a month, like I'd buy Spider-Man, and then there'd be a whole month before the next.
And how many times did you read that Spider-Man in that month?
8 times, 10 times. Like
but I think it's also
over
like
and over again.
The benefits of like free time in childhood.
Yeah, sure.
Because it's also the same thing. Like it's not exactly the same thing, but it reminds me of like when you are young, like video games, right? Because video games now they cost $70, but they cost $60 or $50 when we were growing up. And like you wouldn't have money, and so you would get one game and you would play the shit out of like all of that. And then now, you know, most working people have the money to buy like any game they want. At least, you know, like if there's a game coming out, but like they don't have the time, right? And it's just like when you have the time, you don't have the money. When you have the money, you don't have the time. And it's just like it's like not that you read even if you're reading Spider-Man monthly now, you buy a Spider-Man, you're not gonna read that 8 times. You're gonna read it once, maybe twice.
Yeah, true.
Just because of the way that things change, right? So, I don't think it's a bad thing. I like having I think there is benefit. I think for a compelling story that ends well, there is something nice to waiting. And I think there's also something nice to just like in an hour or so, just reading the 4 issues and just being, you know, feeling good about it.
Yeah. And it's like, you know, it is only 4 issues, so reading it all at once is not that big of a deal. You can read it, just go back and read it again and again and again. I did buy this. I have it, so I can read it over and over again, and I probably will read it again.
Of the ones that we've covered so far, Coyote Dog Girl, The Private Eye, No Longer Human, and The Seeds, is there one that you would like be most compelled to go back and like say like 6 months from now when you don't like necessarily remember all of them fresh? Is there one of these that we've covered so far that you like would be most compelled to go back to?
Well, Joey, it's got to be No Longer Human.
Keep reading.
I love jokes that don't make sense to anybody but you and me.
Hey, go get it.
I guess like, is it a crime
to have sex with an alien?
It's not. No, there's no way it's a crime to have sex with an alien. Is it a crime to lie? Like, if you're a journalist? Like, no, right? You can lie.
You can't print lies. Like, that's libel.
Right. But if you're not. No, I think it's no, but it's only liable if you're telling a lie about somebody.
I think it's just unethical if you lie.
It's unethical, right?
Like you get fired because like newspapers have like journalistic integrity, right. But
if the editor is the one telling you to lie, then you can make up whatever you want.
Yeah, then you're just doing your job.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's not a crime.
No, I guess today's crime is libel.